soap and water, you got rid of all the germs on Achilles' hands.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, SWAPO branch in Dordabes renamed after former councillor Frederick Airy. Female learner expelled from hostel for allegedly failing. Western bypass claims one life and leaves another fatally injured. Agriculture enthusiast plows back to community. Oscars approve Namibian selection committee, and Roundup, Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports, and the weather. First up, the SWAPO branch in Dordabes, east of Windhoek, was renamed after the former regional councillor Frederick Airy over the weekend. The late Airy was the first ruling party candidate to take the constituency from the opposition in 2005.
The settlement of the Dordabes forms part of the Windhoek rural community. On Saturday, SWAPO party members gathered at the local community hall to honor the first councillor from the ruling party to lead the constituency by renaming the branch after him. The daughter of Frederick Airy described him as the founder of SWAPO presence in the area and said despite the loss in last year's regional council elections, they remain steadfast.
The reason why we are here is to honor him and to give him the honor that he deserves. So the reason why we renamed the branch is because he was one of the leaders that started the branch in Dordabes, and that also started SWAPO in Dordabes as well. So he was the branch coordinator of this branch. He was the first district info in MOP in the Windhoek rural constituency, and he was also the first councillor in Windhoek rural constituency. He is the first SWAPO councillor that took over from the opposition in 2004.
Officiating at the occasion and having worked alongside the former councillor, the district coordinator John Elago said that the renaming will revive the party in the constituency.
With Comrade Airy, we started the Windhoek rural SWAPO setup. There was no structures when we started here. There was only SWAPO organizers. So he was representing the Dordabes area as an organizer. Me together with Comrade Robert Williams were representing Kurotop and all the surrounding farms. That is how we started until we organized freely the Windhoek rural community behind the party. In 2002, we have founded the district of Windhoek rural by a district conference, where we elected the first district leadership. And Comrade Airy was elected as the district info on that conference. And then in 2004, Comrade Airy was a candidate or endorsed as a candidate for the party for Windhoek rural, and through him we won for the first time after independence the election of regional council in Vendukurura. So he is somebody who have contributed a lot to Vendukurura and to the SWAPO party in particular.
Frederick Ari was a school teacher who became the political leader of the people of Windhoek Rural at ground level. After serving for 2 terms, he stepped down and passed on a year later.
Every Saturday at 7 p.m., you can stay true to Namibia Sounds with a Valentine's True Music Sessions. Only on 99 FM. Stay tuned. Stay true. There's no wrong way. Valentine's. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
The Student Union of Namibia is currently investigating an incident whereby a female learner from Grootfontein High School was ordered to leave the school hostel for her poor academic performance. The school, according to the SUN leadership, refuses to meet with the union and negotiate a way forward.
Bernard Kavau, president of the Student Union of Namibia, SUN, stated that it is inappropriate for the school to remove the girl from the hostel since she is unable to focus at home.
We have a case at Grootfontein High School where a female learner was removed from the hostel unprocedurally. And the part of us as a union, we received a complaint from a parent. So we tried to do some procedure. The first thing we did is to find some facts from the school. The school told us indeed they have removed the learner from the hostel, and we asked them what are the reasons, why did you remove this learner? One, they were saying the learner have repeated a grade. Then we looked at other, because the perspective of the learner is that the learner is not safe at home. Because there are challenges there, she feels she's more safe to be in the hostel. And this situation has been verified by the parent, as well as even the school principal himself is aware of this matter. They requested for us to give them a week time to resolve this issue. But they failed to resolve the issue, and we are very much disappointed in that. What is most disappointing is that the life skill teacher, she's clueless, she's not aware on what is going on. Every time they give us the landline to call her, she's saying she's not aware of that matter. Now it makes us wonder, what is the role of a life skill teacher at school? Because what we are realizing now is we have life skills teachers who are just there to drink tea, coffees, and make breakfast for school principals. That is not their role. So we at the same time, I think we need to revisit the curriculum as well as policies. Maybe these life skill teachers need to be trained as to what their role is, because they are misinterpreting and they are misrepresenting learners.
Kavau went on to say that the function of the life skill teacher needs to be redefined, since they have a significant duty in understanding the mental health of their learners who are in similar situations.
When there's a bad blood between learners and life skill teacher, it becomes a chaotic environment and non-conducive. And then, well, again, as a union, we elevated the matter to the Minister of Basic Education, the Directorate. So they gave us a directorate that deals with policies and many other things. They said, well, we'll investigate. We gave them 1 week, and they are still investigating as we are talking. But what is worrisome, we are saying, this learner is showing sign of committing suicide. This learner is depressed. This learner is already missing out from education. The only unfortunate part, like we advised the father, is to say consult a social worker. And that was done. And we are constantly engaging the learner on this matter. Our worry is, why do they take long on an urgent issue like this to resolve it? How long will the investigation take? So on this basis, we've decided that we've lost faith in this bureaucratic system of prolonging interviews. So we have decided now there are only 2 steps remaining. We'll approach the minister. We're there, and apparently the minister is not around. She'll only be in next week. Well, We will not wait for next week. We'll still make a 10 because we can meet even the deputy minister. Except from that, we are taking this issue to the ombudsman. According to Article 91, one of the role of the ombudsman is to intervene, investigating on matters, affairs of this nature. So this is our first challenge to this gentleman who have taken the office, and we want to see action.
The union has given the school until September 20th, 2021 to react, or they will take the matter to court.
A fatal car accident on the Western Bypass claimed the life of one VIP police officer and left his colleague in a critical state. The two reportedly came from the northern part of the highway when their vehicle lost control. The horrific scene attracted crowds of curious onlookers. It is alleged that one of the front wheels of the SUV fell off.
It was a very tragic accident that happened on the Western Bypass this morning, just from north to south. After the Independence Avenue Bridge, there was a vehicle, a SUV, that overturned, and we had one of our marshals that were on their way to work, and he actually witnessed what happened.
So the vehicle came from this side?
According to the witness, the SUV began flipping several times over the opposite lane and almost over the state hospital fence.
He says the vehicle was driving, and then suddenly he saw the right front wheel just fly out of the vehicle. So the vehicle then dug into the ground the way it looks, and it flipped tail over head. So it didn't flip sideways, it flipped tail over, and it actually it went straight over the Western Bypass onto oncoming and over, and it hit a signpost with the bonnet, hit the top of the corner of the signpost. So it was definitely a velocity of twirling from head to tail, and it landed eventually on its side.
The vehicle is said to have landed on its side where the driver was. This violent landing resulted in the officer losing his life while leaving his colleague critically injured.
And this is why the driver took the main impact, because if you can see how the vehicle was pushed over, the vehicle basically had hit him. And these are officials. These we are aware of the fact that this is a government vehicle, and they are officials. There were two occupants in the vehicle, a male and a female. The male, which has come to our knowledge as a warrant officer, has succumbed from his injuries due to the impact. The passenger, which is, according to our information, an inspector, and she has been taken to the hospital in a very serious condition.
Fortunately, the hospital was just a stone's throw away. It is suspected that a damaged wheel bearing might have been the cause of the accident.
It looks like it could have been a wheel bearing that had seized up, because if it had been a tire burst, the tire would have been damaged. But it seems like, according to, and this is just an observation, because there will be obviously an investigation put into this, but from what we observed, it seems like a wheel bearing might have seized up and then ripped the wheel off, because it's aluminium hubs, and pulled the tire off.
Thorough investigations will determine the actual cause of the accident.
And your rewards card, please.
It's the Spar Rewards Grand Cash Giveaway, where you can win instant cash to spend on what you want the most. Plus, get amazing savings like Spar 2-ply toilet rolls, 9s for just $46.99, or 2 kg Sunlight hand washing powder for only $42.99. Win your share of thousands in cash instantly with the Spar Rewards Grand Cash Giveaway, only at Spar.
Josiah Shipingana recently represented Namibia at an agricultural training program in Zimbabwe. He now wants to share the knowledge gained with fellow Namibians as he emphasized on the importance of sustainable food production and agronomic farming.
Food security remains a priority for Namibia, with the sector receiving increased support from the government in recent years. Jesiah Shimpingana, who went from owning a garden in Koreagap to running an agriculture project in Ochimise, was fortunate to participate in an agriculture training course in Zimbabwe with fellow youth from African countries. He now wants to plow back the knowledge to Namibians.
There is a lot of opportunities in agriculture. You'll be able to produce your own food. You'll be able to create jobs. You'll be able to keep yourself away from all unnecessary activities around you and stuff. So now the training have bring up a lot of fruits. You know, I can smile all the way. So even things that you don't know before, or that you never knew before, or that what you think it was right, they will always say, you tend to say, no, I think here I was thinking is right, but it's not. So therefore we call it a very positive result from the training perception, because I then went to graduate on what I have been doing online training, which is in-depth training. It's an international institution that is busy producing the upcoming farm and monitoring every activities that are happening within agricultural sectors in various nations. Now, one of the experiences I can tell you is that all nations, including overseas, Americans, and in Africa, I can tell you, there were a lot of people, the participants themselves, they were from Burundi, Uganda, Ivory Coast, Liberia, and you name them. I was one of the Namibian. I was the only Namibian there. But then I bring something home. I bring something home just to add up on what I had already, so that we can now able to produce our own people. As I'm talking now, people can then now come in for training countrywide, regardless where you are. So we might come at your disposal or at your doorstep to ensure that we give you a necessary training that you might need in order for you to become self-sufficient in terms of food production. Regardless, you got land, the land capacity that you got, will obviously be able to produce food either for family consumption and a little bit of income that will happen.
Shimpingana assured those aspiring to venture into agriculture that the sector looks promising. He also urged those with land to avail it to young people who want to produce food for the country to become self-sustainable.
Yeah, the message that I got to the youth and the young people, I don't normally like when I say youth, because I don't target a certain number, but you know, agriculture, like I said earlier, for me, and that's in my opinion, people should not quote me wrong, is the only way to go for now, especially for job creation, especially for food insecurity, and all other activities that are not recognized. To venturize yourself there, to keep yourself there, I mean, there is something to do. So you can produce your food, you can create job, you can even come together and form up a partnership. So, you know, the good thing or logic about it is that those who got land, they can then venturize, or they can then join up with other people who got the skills. And then at the end of the day, they produce what? They create job opportunity, they produce food, and we eradicate poverty, you understand? But we need to understand that we also need to take care of our land so that we can be able to produce. If you don't take care of the land, we will not produce. Therefore, I'm calling for conservation agriculture or sustainable agriculture. That's what I'm emphasizing on. So therefore, there's a need from the look of things that people should come forward. All schools, including institution of higher learning, they might think they have what it takes. I'm not saying I have what it takes, but I think we still need to come together. Therefore, I'm saying I do not want to single out the youth. So I'm calling on everyone here. So we come together, we do research, we found what is the possible way to go, so that we reduce the yoke of poverty, we reduce the yoke of dependency.
Shimpingana said young people that wish to attend his training course should reach out to him at his gardening project located near Ochimise Lifestyle Estate. Through the sessions, he hopes to groom the future agronomic farmers, which will in return create employment and contribute towards eradicating poverty in the country.
A 7-member committee of Namibia film creatives have been cleared ahead of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Awards, popularly known as the Oscars, annually observed at the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood, Los Angeles. The awards has until now been out of reach for the Namibian film industry, the Namibia Film Commission said in a recent statement.
Leading the 7-member committee, Obed Mvula notes that the Academy Awards is a first for Namibia and will, going forward, have a platform to enable local filmmakers to be recognized on a global platform.
The 7-member committee initially receives the submissions, and there's a judging process to select the film that will be nominated towards and submitted towards the Academy Awards, which is the Oscars, and hopefully it will escalate from there. The other role of the committee is to resolve any disputes, as well as maintain the eligibility and criteria set by the Academy that we have to strictly follow. It's a tremendous opportunity for the film industry, not only on the recognition side, but also on the production side. Now we have an avenue to hopefully showcase Namibian stories told by Namibians on an international stage like the Oscars. So it's something that we welcome very much. In the past, films were not able to submit to the Oscars. The only avenue that existed was through South Africa, and obviously that was limiting. And they also have to take care of their own industry. So now we have a straight path to the Academy.
The Filmmakers Association of Namibia called and encouraged filmmakers to produce more films of various genres, telling Namibian stories as the country now has a platform.
It's long overdue. I believe that Namibian films has been making its rounds more and more on the international festival market. We currently have Namibian films on international festivals doing their runs. But to be able to be recognized at a level of Oscars obviously is a great achievement for filmmakers, and it provides even more incentive for filmmakers than has already been the current status quo. So I know that people have been working tirelessly to achieve this, and I think it's a step in the right direction for all filmmakers, both upcoming and already experienced filmmakers. So we're really ecstatic about it. Again, we have been doing this for some time, so it's not like the filmmakers are just going to start doing this now. The only difference is now that there's a possibility of submission to the Oscars of things that they've already been doing. So I mean, the call would definitely be to continue, but then also to keep in mind that they might now also be doing so for an even larger audience as it relates to the Oscar audience. So, and definitely to encourage more production or producing of films and of films of different genres, and to really see what genres it is that the audience or the members really consume and consume more. But then also to keep in mind, that we're not only telling stories, but also telling Namibian stories, and that in itself obviously puts us apart from other countries.
The Namibian International Film Awards Selection Committee will put out a call for Namibian film entries ahead of the 94th Academy Awards ceremony, which will take place at the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood, Los Angeles on the 27th of March 2022.
And there will be a call out for submissions that is going to be sent out by the Film Commission, and hopefully we get as many films as possible, so that we can really shine internationally. Film starts with a story, right? So it's if you're telling a story that you can connect with, you're not just connecting with your environment and your beliefs, but you're also connecting with people all over the world. And this is what this opportunity actually presents. From now, we have a platform. So starting from this year onwards, for the awards season that is starting 2022 in March. Going forward, Namibia will have a platform now.
The big red sale is now on at OK Furniture. Prepare for massive savings on great homeware like the Restonic Pasture Rest Queen Base Set with patented marvelous middle technology for only $3,990. Save $3,009 and save $1,399 on a large 543-liter KIC white chest freezer. Now just $6,000. Catch the big red sale from 16 to 19 September 2021. Only at OK Furniture.
In other leading stories, the Ministry of Finance in a media statement noted that it has been receiving a lot of inquiries from members of the public, mainly pensioners whose medical aid benefits were terminated after retirement. The ministry has conducted a CMS membership verification project in which it was established that 15,162 retired staff members are not contributing to the fund and have failed to reapply for medical aid at retirement, even though they fully benefited from the scheme since retirement. It was further established that a segment of these retirees withdrew their full pension benefits. It is required that contributions for CMS should be deducted from pension benefits monthly. In line with the staff rules and the findings of the verification project, the ministry resolved to terminate the medical aid of the affected members on the 3rd of September 2021. The ministry further notes that all government employees are informed upon retirement through the retirement letter that they should apply within 90 days if they wish to continue with CMS medical aid benefits. The Ministry of Finance, through the Government Institutions Pension Fund, has also been carrying out public education campaigns to retirees about non-compliance. All staff members in the public service, especially those nearing the age of retirement, are therefore urged to acquaint themselves with the staff rules and regulations on the CMS medical aid scheme to avoid forfeiting their medical aid benefit.
Red sale is now on at OK Furniture. Prepare for massive savings on great homeware like the Restonic Posture Rest Queen Base Set with patented marvelous middle technology for only 3,990. Save 3,009 and save 1,399 on a large 543-liter KIC white chest freezer. Now just 6,000. Catch the big red sale from 16 to 19 September 2021. Only at OK Furniture.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. At the 34th COVID-19 public briefing, President Geingob said the country is still a long way from reaching herd immunity, with only 9% of the total population fully vaccinated. Reports have also emerged of businesses forcing employees to take the jab, on which Geingob said employers have the right to protect visitors and employees at their establishments. Expressing concern with the current situation facing Namibia as the slow trend in vaccinations recorded thus far indicates that reaching a 60% coverage of the population will only be a reality next year, Attorney General Festus Mbandeka said public interest remains of paramount importance to the extent that it could override individual rights when it comes to saving lives. This comes as some employers are said to have begun making vaccination mandatory for their workers.
If you look at the labor law of this country, there are certain provisions that actually imposes obligations on the employers to provide a safe and healthy environment, not only to their employees, but also to others, for example, members of the public, and to their customers. Similarly, those provisions also impose obligations on employees to protect themselves against any health risk and also to protect others who are affected by their activities at the workplace. Now, coming to the issue as to what the real position is, I think clearly currently vaccination is voluntary at this stage. However, it has been said, looking at where we are now, we are looking at various other measures to encourage the uptake of vaccination. As for companies that are making certain requirements for mandatory vaccination, obviously one has to look at what are the motives for this. And if it is found that some of these requirements are reasonable and necessary within the circumstances, then they might be found not to be unconstitutional.
Earlier this year, the government developed the National COVID-19 Vaccination and Deployment Plan, under which it adopted the voluntary vaccination principle. Agakengkop emphasized that as the virus evolves, so should the measures to combat the pandemic effectively.
Individual right will stop where the other person's right also starts. So we all have rights. We also duties too. One has rights, but you must have obligations. We're talking about a war. People are dying. It's not a joke. We see it, we bury them every day. So if I'm saying, take care of yourself, protect your family, protect yourself, protect the nation, and you are talking, I have a right to go around and kill myself, if you come to my establishment, I will stop you, because I have also right there. And then common good of the nation is with us. We're elected. We can declare war, isn't it, as a president? Then they don't take it to the parliament. So to save land, their lives, we are begging, we are trying to appeal. I have been doing that now for, I don't know, for how long now. Now, are we going to fight on technicalities about the rights I have? When we are dealing with a serious enemy, invisible enemy. It's not a threat. It's the truth, people are dying. It's not a joke. We cannot have a technical point scoring kind of a thing. We must all hold hands and say it's a serious matter. We must all tackle where we can.
Many countries have made vaccinations mandatory for public workers and places of gathering in response to the Delta variant and a reduction in vaccination rates. That is all we have for you. Do join me again next time, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Compliment Gap? Compliment Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders. Invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
Every Saturday at 7 p.m., you can stay true to Namibia Sounds with a Valentine's True Music Sessions. Only on 99 FM. Stay tuned. Stay true. There's no wrong way. Valentine's. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. Former People's Liberation Army of Namibia combatants marched peacefully from Katutura to the International Relations Ministry in town to deliver a petition to the Minister Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. The group demanded answers from the SWAPO-led government about alleged missing money allocated by the UN to rehabilitate and repatriate Namibians after the country obtained its independence. Cleopas noted that he believes that their concerns are worth listening to. Moses says the money should be given to them as they are getting older and are passing away. Fiona says the government will listen to them when it's election time. While Festus noted that they should be given the money as only a few are alive today. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on One.
And your awards card, please.
It's the Spar Rewards Grand Cash Giveaway, where you can win instant cash to spend on what you want the most. Plus, get amazing savings like Spar Extra Shelf Life Milk for just $26.99 or Bacoma Wheat Bix for only $19.99. Win your share of thousands in cash instantly with the Spar Rewards Grand Cash Giveaway, only at Spar.
Time now for today's sports update with Chairo Musiandaka.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Chairo Musiandaka. At a recent meet and greet with the media, newly appointed senior national rugby team head coach Alistair Coetzee set out his 3-year plan whilst at the helm, including prioritizing the 2023 Rugby World Cup as his main objective. Coetzee also gave an overview of Namibian rugby following his first 2 games as head coach. More from this story from our sports desk.
Making his first meet and greet with the media, Coach Alistair Coetzee, who was recently appointed as the New Velviches senior national rugby team head coach, outlined his plans for the team for the next 3 years.
So just briefly, my mandate from the board is to make sure that I need to prepare the national team to retain number 1 status in Africa first, and then the next big thing is to qualify for Rugby 2023. It's just a quick thing about the road to the World Cup. We've got phase 1, which we're currently busy with. We've got overseas-based players, pros that are there, abroad still. We've got local, the under-20s, the national under-20 players, and then we've got our club players. So we want to make sure that we spread the net as wide as possible and not miss out on local talent that could, represent the national side one day. Phase 2 is actually the most important phase of this whole program. Phase 2 of the road to the World Cup is obviously qualification in July. We will have again contact. We will have our best players coming back to Namibia. We will have our local base players in the best conditioning, and we have warm-up games, possibly against Griquas. But we want the best Namibian squad of 28 to start that first game against Burkina Faso. When we have qualified, then all focus shifts to the World Cup, the preparation of the World Cup, and then we will have training camps, alignment camps, and then a November tour to Europe. But the union, obviously, the Namibian Rugby Union, have looked at tougher opposition for that phase. Russia, Canada, USA, those kind of opposition to build it for the final phase, which is Rugby World Cup 2023. We look at try to get a core of players which you can keep in Namibia. Hopefully we get the Nations Cup still. But after the Nations Cup in June, we'll try and keep 10 to 15 of those overseas base players in the country to prepare for Rugby World Cup, where we can make sure we give our team the best coaching possible, and every coach will be on board then. So this is just an overview of our planning going to 2023 World Cup. But let's forget about 2023 World Cup, focus on qualifying 2022. I think that is the first step in with my mandate that I got from the union, from the national executive.
Kutsia's first task at the helm was to lead the team during the Rugby Africa Gold Cup Pool A tournament in Ivory Coast from the 3rd to the 11th of July 2021. His first 2 games ended in a loss and a victory. Kutsia also shared his opinion on Namibian rugby after his engagements with the Namibia Rugby Union as well as his interaction with the national players.
One thing that is you can thread through board, coaches, management and everyone, there's passion about Namibian rugby. That is a big thing. There's a really big caring for getting Namibian rugby on, and its best possible state and position, which is a good place to start with. The players, very coachable, be it club players, be it the overseas players, and I've seen commitment from those overseas players really flying down to Abidjan, which is tough. Leaving, first world countries to go and come to Africa and play rugby there, which is, show their commitment and how proud they are to represent Namibia. So from that point of view, I'm really satisfied, and there's still a lot of things that I need to learn about the rugby landscape, but I'm picking that up as we go on. Namibia, without a doubt, will, be a force to be reckoned with. Like we are, making sure that we're all aligned, and we're making sure that we try to improve our club rugby, our Premier League. We try to improve the coaches, the coaching, and our athletes. So I don't think there will ever be a case where Namibian rugby will just sort of fade away. Never, never. We will be there always, and we will get better and stronger. And our dream is still to win that one game in our pool at the World Cup.
The former Springbok and Stormers head coach Alistair Kutsia is appointed on a 3-year contract which came into effect from the 25th of June 2021 until the end of the 2023 Rugby World Cup.
Well, that's all the time we have for you this evening. Join us again tomorrow evening for more Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Isai.
Thanks, Charo, for that update. Now we look at the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. Very cold and windy conditions are expected in the south and east tomorrow morning. The Namibia interior very cold in the Hardap, Karas and Omaheke regions in the morning. Otherwise sunny and mild to warm but hot in the north. Windy conditions will persist. The coast partly cloudy and mild to warm, and the wind light to fresh southwesterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
We've come to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. Do join us again for a repeat at 9:30 this evening, 6 a.m. and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Winsalt Manufacturer is Namibia's first animal salt, nutritional and medicine lick manufacturer. The company is based in Walfish Bay in the Irongo region. Established in 2019, Winsalt's main focus currently is distribution in Namibia. Exports to other African countries have however also commenced, and plans to export the product elsewhere are underway, with some good prospects for exports to South Korea, the United Kingdom, Germany and the United States. GIPF invested $10,167,000 Namibian in the setting up of the company, which was established after a need in the animal market industry was identified for an alternative to the molasses block, which was purchased from other countries in southern Africa only. The molasses block is a high-protein concentrated feed containing necessary amounts of minerals and vitamins. It supplies non-protein nitrogen to the rumen microbes without risk. Winsalt Chief Executive Officer Craig Dazzle noted that the product was a brilliant idea as its base was mainly salt and Namibia has some of the best salt.
The block itself is quite popular in America, in Australia, in Asia and in Europe. It's very popular, but it's never been to Southern Africa yet, and it's actually, in essence, it's never been to Middle Africa either. So we're actually the first manufacturers in the entire Southern Africa producing the block. We've also produced some unique blocks that are world first, where we source the local material we source is from local suppliers. For instance, we now just produced a Devil's Claw block, which is the first of its kind in the world. We've done a Moringa block, which is also the very first block of its kind anywhere you'll find in the world. So there's a lot of firsts that we've created here in Namibia.
He added that the product has already been introduced to all parts of the country and they have received positive feedback.
We've already exported to Angola, we've exported to Zambia twice already. We're busy with quite a large order to go into Uganda. We've received orders from Zimbabwe already, and as well as South Africa. Our very first orders are going to South Africa.
The company, like other businesses, has also been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially on the marketing side, according to Dazzle.
That basically put the brakes on in terms of all marketing effort that we want to do with, especially trying to bring the message across to the farmers that here's an alternative in terms of mineral licks for farmers.
Winsalt General Manager Vicky de Jager explains more on why farmers use salt.
Farmers add salt. They add the salt because it balances your electrolytes in your body. So even for humans, you need a certain level of salt in your body at all times. It affects your heart rate, it affects your electrolyte balance, which affects your muscles. It's also for proper health in your body. It affects your growth rate. Animals that are deficient yield lower milk, their growth rate is lower, their management to have livestock babies is reduced. So the whole salt keeps your entire system working optimally. The difference between our salt blocks and actually just adding salt into the animal feed means that the animals can lick the salt when their body feels that it needs salt. If you just put the salt into the feed, the animals are being forced a certain level of salt, and it might not necessarily be what they are needing at that point in time. If the animal is lactating, if there's breeding season, if a horse has been running and sweating, they're going to need higher levels of salt. But then by the same token, you don't want an animal that's sitting doing nothing having too much salt, because then their salt balance is going out. They're going to get dehydrated, they're going to get the electrolyte balance, their heart rate is going to start beating faster. You're flowing the entire system out. With our salt licks, the animal will come to get the salt when the animal is needing the salt, as opposed to the farmer forcing the salt on the animal.
Dazzle expressed gratitude for GIPF's funding, noting that for a small and upcoming business, Winsalt is doing quite well and is already gaining the necessary exposure. Winsalt currently has 8 employees, and with the growth expected within the next couple of months, the company expects to increase the number to around 25 people. Winsalt employee Matthew Ipinge said he practically knew nothing when he started his employment in 2019. However, with the right training and leadership, he managed to equip himself with the necessary skills to properly execute his job.
Mwengayironga paifa ayironga aende na shashio muhantumono ngasiringane kuatero family no ruvaro imaishe paifa aende ngana vani ati nengera kucha mutu mevura tadikea statupandura nena tango siwinsa tshire muno mobile titupironga ya meri kwa ye anduka tupa popo ngatu matulika atuchikanjane satupandura na tango JPF ngwali ene ta kwathere minsalta opa ayambukepo nokuposhima nokumatera mapo makwatho muganga itavulu pone etukute akutana Namibia yakanje etupironga.
We know the world is a crazy place right now, but don't panic. Take a breath. Slow down. Or better yet, stop completely. We'll still be here when everything settles down. In this time of uncertainty, look to nature. She has all the answers, you know. We're not only giving ourselves time to reset, we're giving nature time to restore, revive, restart. We're saving ourselves and we're saving the world. Stay home now so that we can welcome you to Namibia again soon. Yes, the world's a crazy place right now, but don't despair. Find the joy. Cherish hope. Breathe. Take a moment. Take a few. And someday soon you'll once again be able to stay in wonder at this magnificent view. The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.
This week on It's a Wrap.
Yeah, you see, it's two things. First is that surely, especially Buffers by in Swakop Mode, you have everyday people coming in from all different regions, coming in search of work, employment, because there's hope that they will come and get in there. So, because the region is an economic hub, there's so many industries here and sectors, fishing, mining, logistics, tourism, it's taking place here. So people come every day to the region, and the pace at which we're supposed to reply or respond to the housing need is a bit slow.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, The best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
This fishing community on Mozambique's northern coast has been hit hard. People here are suffering from high rates of malnutrition, but that's not all. The greatest concern is the high rates of HIV infection and AIDS, the main cause of death in adults and young people across Mozambique. Poor nutrition makes it even more difficult for people to fight the disease. 21-year-old Alima Artur is the daughter of one of these fishermen. A few years ago, she suddenly started suffering from an unknown illness.
Me encontrei desesperada, totalmente triste. Minha vida só era chorar. Pensei que já estava a ir já.
All this changed the day Alima met Arlette Anna Abel from a project called Chapani. With support from IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the Belgian Fund for Food Security, staff from Chapani work with villagers to combat the dual threats of HIV and malnutrition. When Alima tested positive for HIV and AIDS, Arlette encouraged her to form a support group. Alima chose her father and aunt, who helped her to stay optimistic and healthy. In fact, teaching people to eat well is an important part of Arlette's work.
Eu ensinei elas para que pudesse enriquecer os alimentos para ela poder as hemoglobinas não baixarem. Então, já se alimenta agora de verduras, não só do peixe.
As part of the Chapani project, cooking demonstrations are held for everyone in the community. The session today features the highly nutritious moringa plant, a fast-growing, drought-resistant tree unknown to many locally. Now it has become a popular item in the local cuisine. Maria Machambi, who is not HIV positive, is learning to create her own garden with more than 6,000 other families in the area. The idea is spreading quickly throughout the community, with locally trained volunteers now leading the process.
They share their ideas with their neighbors and everyone gets excited. For us, that is key. Once communities own the process and they don't need an external person to tell them how to cook food, how to prepare it, they do it within themselves.
The success of the project has motivated IFAD to expand nutrition education across the nation over the next 3 years. Meanwhile, Alima is playing a key role in spreading the word about healthy living. Through songs, she informs people about safeguarding against HIV and AIDS, adopting healthy eating habits, and learning to cope with the disease.
Vê lá, me repara só. Sabe, uma pessoa pode me ver, não saber que eu tenho esse tipo de problema. Hã? Estou bem, hein? Ouviste?
And with more than 10% of Mozambique's adult population infected with HIV, this message has never been more pertinent. This report was produced by Jonathan Elliott for the United Nations.
BBC's Smart Money program presents an exciting new technology segment dubbed Smart Tech.
Ghana have a problem of unemployment, also the problem of housing and schools under trees. Now Plus wants to use the problem of plastic waste, so to solve the problem of schools under trees, housing, and create more jobs for the youth in the country.
Bonjour. Hello, I am Saoudou Niang, director of the Palms Luxury Boutique Hotel in Dakar. I started by cleaning a toilet. Today, I am the manager of my own 5-star hotel boutique with 60 employees.
To give more people access to these life-saving vaccines, South Africa and India have proposed a waiver of COVID-19 patents, and the move seems to be gathering momentum after receiving the backing of the United States. But even if the patent waiver is indeed granted, can Africa manufacture these vaccines at scale?